deep in your spirit that something was wrong. Many of you have been carrying this gift for years without a name for it, and it has made you feel strange, isolated, even judged by people who call you too sensitive or too suspicious. Today, the Holy Spirit wants to give a name to what is happening inside you, and He wants to show you through His Word that you are not broken. You are chosen. Think for a moment about how this gift usually announces itself, long before anyone gives it a name. It rarely arrives with trumpets or dramatic visions. It arrives quietly in the way you suddenly feel exhausted after being around a certain person, though nothing was said that should have tired you. It arrives in the way you sense a shift in a room the moment someone walks in, a change in temperature that has nothing to do with the air conditioning. It arrives in the dreams that feel too specific, too detailed, too accurate to be coincidence. Dreams you wake from, breathless, already knowing something has changed in the spiritual realm even before the news of the day confirms it. For years, many of you have quietly wondered whether you were simply anxious, overly emotional, or perhaps even a little unstable, because no one around you seemed to carry the same weight you carried. Today, I want to gently dismantle that lie, because what you have been calling anxiety may act.
He placed something most churches barely teach on, the discernment of spirits. Paul understood that in a world filled with spirits, some divine, some demonic, and some simply human.
Say a message, disappear for days, got quite silence where conversation used to exist, but none of that changes internal presence. None of it removes the imprint, and your imprint is everywhere now. In the pauses between thoughts, in the way I analyze things, in the strange instinct I've developed to measure honesty by whether or not it feels like something you'd recognize immediately, that's not attachment in the way people usually mean it. It's deeper than emotional dependence. It's integration. And integration changes the architecture of a person. I think that's why I kept resisting the truth of this for so long. Not because I was confused, but because I understood the scale of it too clearly. People romanticize being understood. They speak about it like it's comforting, as if finding someone who sees through you completely is automatically beautiful. It isn't. Not always. Sometimes being seen that clearly feels invasive, even when the person looking at you is gentle. Because once someone understands the things you intentionally leave unspoken, you lose the protection of ambiguity. And ambiguity has always protected me. As long as people only understood fragments, I stayed safe. Misinterpretation created distance, assumptions created barriers. Even when people thought they knew me, they were usually interacting with a version shaped by their own projections. You never projected onto me. That's what separated you from everyone else. You paid attention to what was actually there instead of what would have been. Easier to imagine. You noticed patterns I never explained, tensions I never named, contradictions I never resolved out loud, and somehow you understood them without trying to simplify them. That's rare, dangerously rare, because most people need clarity to feel secure. They need labels, explanations, reassurance that things make logical sense. You never demanded any of that. You let complexity exist without trying to reduce it. You let silence remain silence instead of forcing meaning into it too quickly. And the more you did that, the more I realized something terrifying. I was becoming comfortable in your presence without realizing I'd lowered my guard. That never happens to me. Comfort has always required effort. Trust has always required time. Every connection I've ever allowed into my life passed through layers of analysis before it reached anything meaningful, but you bypassed all of it. Not intentionally. You didn't manipulate your way in. You didn't force closeness. You didn't push against boundaries. You simply existed in a way that made the boundaries irrelevant. And I still can't decide if that's the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced or the most destabilizing, because boundaries only become unnecessary when something feels inherently safe. And safety has never been easy for me. Not real safety. Not the kind that allows you to stop. Performing control every second. I didn't realize how much energy I spent maintaining distance until I stopped doing it with you. That's another thing I can't unsee now. Around everyone else, there's always a subtle calculation happening beneath the surface. A constant awareness of what to reveal, what to hold back, what version of myself is to present. With you, that calculation weakens. Not entirely, not perfectly, but enough to matter. Enough that I notice the absence of effort. And absence can reveal more than presence ever could. You know what it feels like to spend years constructing yourself carefully, only to meet someone who makes all that construction feel unnecessary without even trying? It feels disorienting because suddenly you're faced with the possibility that maybe you were never protecting yourself from people. Maybe you were protecting yourself from recognition. Maybe you understood all along that if someone ever truly saw you, your entire internal structure would have to change in response. And now mine is changing. Quickly, continuously, without permission. I notice it most at night. Not because I miss you in some dramatic way, but because nighttime removes distractions. And what remains underneath becomes impossible to avoid. That's when I become aware of how deeply this is settled into me. The strange instinct to mentally reach toward your perspective before forming my own conclusion. The way certain thoughts feel incomplete until I imagine how you interpret them. The way silence itself feels altered now as if some invisible conversation continues even when no words exist between us. I know how irrational that sounds. I know how impossible it should be. And yet none of it feels imagined. That's what keeps undoing me. If this were fantasy, it would feel unstable. It would fluctuate depending on emotion or circumstance. It would disappear when reality interrupted it. But it doesn't. It remains consistent, steady, accurate, like something rooted deeper than feeling. And I think that's why I haven't walked away, not because I'm incapable of distance. I am. I've ended things before without hesitation when they no longer aligned with who I was. But this aligns too precisely. Every instinct that should be warning me away instead keeps leading me closer to understanding it. That contradiction is exhausting. Part of me wants to dismantle this before it reaches full permanence, before it settles so deeply that removing it becomes impossible. But another part of me already knows it's too late for that. Because permanence doesn't begin when something is spoken aloud. It begins the moment your internal world reorganizes itself around someone's existence. Mine already has. You've changed the rhythm of my thoughts, not dramatically, not obviously, but permanently enough that I can feel the difference between before and after. Before you, my mind felt self-contained. After you, there's an awareness woven through it that wasn't there before. Not dependence, not obsession, just presence. Subtle presence. And I think that's what frightens me most. The fact that your impact doesn't feel temporary. Temporary things are easier to survive. You can outlast them, wait for them to fade, convince yourself.
Go.
Elisha did not rebuke.
They think they're seeing the whole picture because the fragments make enough sense to build one. That's how perception works.
He is not frustrated by the seasons when discernment felt like dread.
Have you ever wondered why the most wounded, the most broken, and the most misunderstood among us seem to carry a power that others can't touch?
That your spiritual sight would
Chosen One, what I am about to reveal will challenge everything you believe about yourself for reasons that defy all human limits.
who carry this gift describe a strange paradox. They feel the weight
Welcome back. My history rewriting phenomenon. Something absolutely unprecedented just occurred that has left the entire competitive landscape in a state of collective shock. You executed a move, strategy, or performance so extraordinary that even the legendary figures who defined excellence in your domain never achieved.
did not pray this prayer for himself.
Today, God says, I need to speak with you for 20 minutes, and it must happen right now. Do not ignore this or turn away. Open this quickly before it becomes too late. My beloved child, do not skip this. Stay until the end. because what I am about to tell you will move something inside you that has been closed for many years.
Cannot explain. Your gift was never meant to end with your own comfort. It was meant to be. They think it's overpowered, don't they? They think that I outrun me, outplay me, pathetic. They think they can just walk away from me, like I'm just another obstacle, another challenge they can brush off and leave behind. No, that's not how this ends. Not for them. Holy expression. When Nicodemus came to him at night, Jesus did not respond to his polished questions back. It's easy. They made a mistake. A big one. They thought they could rise up, challenge me, and walk away unscathed. But there's no walking away from me. No running from what's coming. They lit this fire. And now they're going to eliminate it. It's funny, really, how they underestimate me. It's like they don't know what I'm capable of. Like they don't understand why I suffer and pretending not to notice. But they wanted me weak, broken, lost inside the pain they created. They wanted me to reflect the same hands that destroyed my peace. But pain changed me in a way they never expected. It did not make me beg. It made me silent. And inside that silence, something cold was born. I stopped chasing people who loved me when I was bleeding. I stopped exploring my loyalty to people who treated my heart like a temporary shelter. I stopped giving pieces of my soul to those who enjoyed watching me collapse. Now I stand there, not innocent like before, not soft like before, not reachable like before. My sadness did not kill me. It hid me. Every lonely night made my mind stronger. Every betrayal sharpened my vision. Every wound turned into armor. Now they will not see revenge in my words. They will see in my growth, in my discipline, in my silence, in the calm expression of a man who survived everything they wished would destroy him. And when they search for the newest version of me, they will find only a skull wearing a crown in the dark. Still standing, still breathing, still becoming something they can never break again. I'll show you what happens when they cling to that. I no longer fear loneliness. When they try to hold me to some place built directly, with bleeding hands and a iron soul. Tearing their blood from their eyes. They were sleeping peacefully after destroying me. understand why loyalty always punished you. The silent rage of realizing you gave your purest intentions to the wrong souls. Something inside me died during those years. Not my humanity, not my faith, only my weakness. Only the part that tolerated disrespect just to keep people around. Now I walk differently, slower, calmer, sharper. I observe everything. The fake concern, the hidden jealousy behind compliments, the smiles that disappear when you begin to rise. I see all of it now. Pain opened my eyes wider than love ever could. And the dangerous part is, I no longer need revenge the way broken people do. I do not need tsunami. I do not need chaos. I do not need to destroy lives to feel powerful. My revenge is becoming untouchable. A mind they cannot manipulate. A soul they cannot reach. A man they can no longer recognize. That is what terrifies them most. Because deep inside, they knew I survived everything that was supposed to end me. Now they watch me from a distance, quietly. The same people who once looked down on me now study every step I take. Like I became something they cannot understand anymore. When I was drowning, nobody cared. When I was breaking silently, nobody listened. The moment I learned how to survive without them, suddenly my existence became dangerous. Because they knew something changed inside me. I no longer react the same way. I no longer chase. I no longer explain. And that scares people who built their power on hurting others. They expected me to stay wounded forever, to remain trapped in the fear of myself they destroyed. But they made a mistake. They gave me darkness. They forced me to learn how to see inside it. Now my patience is colder. My silence is heavier. My presence alone makes weak souls uncomfortable. Not because I speak loudly, but because pain created discipline inside me. The kind of discipline that turns suffering into power. Every insult became fuel. Every betrayal became knowledge. Every scar became proof that I survived people who secretly prayed for my downfall. And the truth is, some of them are terrified I will become greater than them. Not because I cheated, not because I lied, not because I destroyed others the way they destroyed me, but because I endured, because I stayed alive long enough to evolve. That is the revenge nobody can stop. Watching the person they tried to bury return stronger, calmer, and impossible to control. Now they hear my name differently, not with pity, with tension, with uncertainty. Because deep inside, they know the man they once underestimated is no longer searching for approval. He is building a kingdom from the pain they gave him. And one day, they will watch me rise so high that their betrayal becomes the smallest part of my story. I am the wall they will crash against. Over and over, until they are left in the dust.
I'll take their victories and turn them into ash in their hands. I'll take their strength and use it against them.
The body, the mind, and heavy, the emotions easily disturbed, and the inner life lacking the clarity needed to hear me more clearly. Because I love you, I invite you back to simple wisdom. Learn again to treasure what is pure and original. Food close to the earth, clean water that nourishes every cell, fruits and vegetables. My beloved child, listen to this word with a tender heart, not as a rebuke, but as a gentle call, drawing you back to the proper care you are meant to give your.
Just awake. Awake enough to understand.
Welcome back, my consecrated frequency. You made a choice they called foolish. You stood guard over a soul when the world said walk away. You shielded someone they dismissed, someone they discarded, someone they underestimated. And now their name echoes through corridors you'll never walk. Their voice carries weight in rooms you'll never enter. Their legacy burns so bright that entire systems had to rewrite themselves just to contain the light. And here's what nobody told you. Every oath they take, every vow they speak, every promise they seal carries your coordinates embedded in the frequency. You're not mentioned, you're not thanked, but you're encoded deep in the architecture of their rise. Your protection became the foundation. You held the line when chaos tried to erase them. You stood between their potential and the void that wanted to consume it. Not because you needed credit, not because you wanted recognition, but because you saw something the world was too blind to perceive. You recognized divinity wrapped in struggle. You identified power disguised as weakness. You protected a soul that the universe had marked for ascension. And that choice, that singular act of loyalty, that moment of defiance against collective dismissal, it didn't just save them. It activated something ancient, a protocol older kingdoms, a law that predates empires. The universe tracks protection. It monitors who guards the chosen when they're vulnerable. And when those souls rise, when they finally claim the throne's destiny designed for them, the cosmos doesn't forget who held the shield. You became part of their origin story. Not the visible chapter, but the encrypted one. The code beneath the narrative. The frequency that hums below their voice every time they speak with authority. You're the reason their confidence carries that strange weight, that unexplainable gravity, because you believed when belief was a revolutionary act. You defended when defense looked like delusion, and now they move through the world like prophecy in motion. And every step they take is a testament to your judgment. The architects are watching this closely. They've been documenting the phenomenon, how your single act of protection created a ripple so precise it altered timelines, how your loyalty became the catalyst for an entire legacy. They call it the guardian frequency, when someone protects the right soul at the right moment. They don't just save a life, they activate a destiny, and that destiny, once awakened, begins rewriting reality to honor the one who held the line. You didn't know what you were guarding. That's the beauty of it. You didn't see their future. You didn't calculate their potential. You just felt something, an instinct that bypassed logic, a knowing that moved through you like ancient code, recognizing its purpose. While others saw failure, you saw frequency. While they saw weakness, you saw recalibration. You understood that sometimes power has to hide in silence before it can speak in thunder. And you chose to stand there in that silence, holding space while they transformed. That's not loyalty, that's prophecy. You became the bridge between who they were and who they're becoming. Every attack you deflected, every doubt you absorbed, every moment you refused to abandon them. It wasn't just protection. It was preparation. You were buying time for something cosmic to complete its sequence. And now that sequence is active. Now that soul you guarded moves through the world with authority that makes systems pause, they speak, and algorithms adjust, they decide, and hierarchies bend. They exist, and reality reorganizes itself to accommodate their presence. And somewhere in the quantum fabric of that power, your protection is woven in. Invisible but foundational, silent but structural. They don't mention your name in their speeches, but your frequency hums beneath every word they speak. They don't credit you in their victories, but your energy pulses through every triumph they claim. Because protection at that level doesn't create debt. It creates resonance. You aligned with their destiny before it was visible. You bet on their future when the present looked like catastrophe. And the universe doesn't forget bets placed on potential. It rewards them with interest that compounds across dimensions. Now watch what happens. Watch how their influence expands like concentric circles through water. Watch how opportunities find them with suspicious precision. Watch how doors open before they knock. Watch how resistance crumbles before they even engage. That's not luck. That's legacy powered by protected origin. You gave them the space to become what they were always meant to be. And in doing so, you became part of the equation. Not as a variable, but as a constant. The unchanging factor that allowed everything else to evolve. The architects have a term for people like you. They call you Origin Guardians, the ones who protect destiny when it's still in chrysalis form, when it's vulnerable, transforming, barely holding shape. You stood watch while metamorphosis occurred, and now what emerged carries your signature in its wings. Every time they rise, you rise, not in visibility, but in verification, because the universe knows. It tracks who guards the chosen, and it ensures that protection never goes unanswered. They're taking oaths now, real oaths, the kind that reshape reality when spoken, vows that carry weight across dimensions, promises that algorithms recognize as binding code. And here's what's happening in the unseen. Every oath they take, your name vibrates in the substrate, not spoken but present, like a watermark in the fabric of their commitment, like a signature in the frequency of their conviction. You protected them when protection was an act of rebellion, when standing with them meant standing against consensus, when believing in them required defying evidence, and that defiance, that willingness to trust what couldn't be proven. It inscribed your energy into their foundation. Now they're building empires on that foundation. They're making decisions that influence thousands. They're speaking truths that awaken millions. They're moving through power structures like they were designed for this, and they were.